Thank you for tuning in to the East Cliff Studios YouTube channel. My name is Matt, and in this particular video, we are going to be looking at how to get yourself started recording some professional music, as well as investing in some good gear to make your recording setup a music production powerhouse. Let's jump right in. Well, it's been another busy day of production here at East Cliff Studios. Good thing I have some good gear to rely on to make sure that every production I make looks and sounds its best. First thing to note about any music gear, look at reviews. Do yourself a favor and invest in the right gear and do some research. It might pan out once or twice here and there if you listen to the manufacturer's claims verbatim, but do yourself a favor, look at the specs of the item you're going to buy, look at the real-world applications and authentic reviews of that product used in the real world, and you'll save a lot of money down the road. What do you think of when you hear the word studio, or engineer, or production? For me, it is a massive custom-treated space with enough toys to make any sound engineer or studio engineer's dream come true. Custom monitors, custom speakers, a massive mixing board, all of it, the whole lot. It might seem crazy, but due to the increase of the complexity of consumer-grade technology, you can make your own album in your bedroom. The times are evolving. There's more creative people breaking barriers and changing the music industry as we know it right now. So I'm going to give you some of my top picks for vital music equipment that's going to level up your production to new heights. The links for all the products that I go through in this video will be down in the description below. The first piece of gear you're going to want to research, if you didn't already, is the brains of the operation, the computer. To determine the brand of computer you're going to get, definitely decide which type of DAW, digital audio workstation, you are going to get or will get. Specifically for Logic users, you'll need a Mac, and for other types of DAWs, a Windows computer will be fine. Now, a Mac computer can run other types of DAWs, but you do need to upgrade the internals, and that does cost a little bit more when you're choosing Mac. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, speaking of internals, here's some tips to note when buying a computer for music production. Now, you have typically 3 different types of specs that you can customize in computers. You got the RAM, you got the CPU, and you got the internal storage. Now, RAM is how much data can be processed at one time that's fed to the CPU. So if you have more RAM, let's say 15 or 16 gigabytes versus 32, the 32 obviously it's more, so the computer will be able to process more data at one time that is sent to the CPU. Second thing, the CPU is basically the overall production of the project. It mostly runs the plugins. So if you have a lot of plugins in your projects, you'll want to kind of lean towards upgrading the CPU in that aspect. Now, internal storage is definitely necessary if you have a lot of MIDI instruments or software libraries that are very taxing on the internal storage. Personally, in my own experience, if you have a low storage amount, let's say you have 256 gigabytes of storage and you only have 30 gigabytes left of storage, your computer will noticeably be slowed down based on the storage capacity. If you are coming to that point where you can't fill up anymore, it's going to slow down a little bit. So you definitely want to get something with ample enough storage. If you're downloading plugins, if you're downloading software instruments, it's a good idea. If you can't upgrade the storage later, it's a good idea to get a good amount of storage up front so that you won't get bottlenecked in the future. Now, you want to get a good machine that can last you a decent amount of time. As I said, you don't get bottlenecked. So a good starting point, at least for me, about 500 gigabytes of storage, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and if you're on a Windows computer, I would say an i7 to an i9 CPU. That's pretty good, standard. For Mac, you're definitely going to want to do the M series chips. If you go with the Intel, it's noticeably slower. M2 to M4 is a good range. Again, it's just my opinion. In the past, I've run into issues where I did not have the correct configuration for the amount of production that I was doing on my computer, and I was getting bottlenecked in a lot of places, and I had to eat the cost of the upgrade. So you definitely want to make sure that, at least for the foreseeable future, you have a good computer that'll last you and you don't have to upgrade. Now, the second thing you're going to want to look at is an audio interface. What that is basically it's the interface, as the name implies, between all of your instruments or your microphones to the computer. It basically transfers the analog electrical signal from your microphones or guitars or basses or whatever, and transfers it into a digital format where your computer can analyze it, and then you basically adjust the sound and process that in your DAW. Now let's take a look at my pick for a good audio interface. So right here we have the Focusrite Scarlett Solo 3rd generation. It has an XLR input and a 1/4 inch input, so kind of a solo artist thing with a guitar and a mic. Very simple to operate, very good interface. This is not a promotion in any way. Focusrite is one of my favorite brands. Very good interface. Now, I haven't tried the 4th version that they just released for the Focusrite, so I can't give my opinion on that, but the 3rd generation I can say with confidence that it's a really good brand. It sounds really good. Some cheaper interfaces, they tend to distort quicker. You want an interface with a good amount of headroom. Now, headroom is the maximum level that your gear can handle before clipping or distortion, so you want an interface that has a good range. Some pieces of gear need a lot of gain, and they need a lot of volume, and if you get an interface that can't provide that, you're going to kind of be bottlenecked in that way. Now, the third piece of gear that you're going to want to look at getting is a microphone. Now, there's some microphones that can be used really on everything, and if your budget's tight, that's probably a good option for you, as you can kind of make your dollar stretch a lot further. Some microphones are better for vocals, some mics are better for guitars, but the main thing is you want to find the mic that's best for you. Now, here are my top 3 picks for some of the best microphones that I would recommend on a budget. You got the SM57 with the pop filter, because it does not come with one internally, so you got a piece of foam in between you and the microphone so that there's no pop of air while you're recording. You got your Lewitt LCT 240 Pro, which is the one I'm using right now. Sounds phenomenal. Very good microphone on a budget. And then finally, my main vocal microphone, which is the Warm Audio WA47 Junior. It has a nice warm tone to it, as well as really clear highs. It's very articulate. It's one of my favorite mics I found. Now, based on the style of music that you'll be producing, as well as the quality of your voice, that'll help influence what type of mic you should buy. Now, these 3 things, a computer, a microphone, and an audio interface, they're going to help you start making some amazing music. Now, one other piece of equipment that I didn't mention that will help speed up your workflow if you're dealing with MIDI instruments is a MIDI controller. Now, since I'm a keyboard player, I decided to go with the M-Audio KeyStation 49 MK3. It's a really good basic keyboard that allows me to speed up my workflow and just use those MIDI instruments with ease. Now, where East Cliff Studios plays a role is the collective creativity that producers such as myself bring to your project. I've had a lot of experience in the music scene, being in bands, different levels of production, going on tour for a little bit, as well as develop this studio to where it is now. When musicians and creatives come together and combine their ideas, it really pushes the boundaries further than they ever been pushed. As I mentioned in my introduction video, January 20th is the opening for East Cliff Studios, so definitely mark that down on your calendar. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, give us a like down below. Remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new videos that are coming up. Logic tutorials, cool tricks with recording different pieces of gear, and much more. So thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.